Welcome to the video. I'm Nick from Noob to Pro and I hope you are doing great. Before we get started, guys, I'd just like to say thank you to the people that have joined us on the channel since we got started. We've only been going a few weeks and we've got some regular viewers. You're leaving comments, and guys, I'm loving some of the comments. Just to know that these videos are helping out is absolutely great. Thanks, guys. So I've asked for any requests, and Major Armchair, you have asked for a video on the Bronto. So we're going to look at everything you need to know to tame a Bronto. We're going to look at tips and tricks on what to do with them and have they got any special abilities. Today is all about the Brontosaurus. So let's go find one. We're looking at the Bronto spawn map for the island, and as you can see, they are common in some areas and quite rare in other areas. We've got two Brontos here then. Quick check of the levels. We've got a 24 and a 12, so I'll go for the level 24. Now all I'm going to do is get it tranked out using a primitive crossbow and trank arrows. Now I'm on Herbivore Island, and there's always a Bronto or two around here. Once I've got one tamed, I will put it in a cryopod to get it back to base. So I'm going to stay on foot and try to avoid that huge tail, as it can knock you quite far, and I don't really want to end up swimming. Also, if you are anywhere near the top of a cliff or anything like that, these Brontos can knock you flying and you'll end up at the bottom of the cliff, and you're going to do yourself some serious injury, if not kill yourself. So as I said, I'm using a primitive crossbow. If I was to use a better quality one, or maybe a long neck with trank dots, I'd get the job done much quicker, but I just wanted to show that you can get it done with a primitive crossbow. It is even possible to do it with a bow and trank arrows, but it's just going to take even longer. This is going to take long enough. I've actually brought two crossbows with me just in case it was a high level Bronto that I was trying to trank out and the crossbow might not have lasted. As it is, it's only level 24, so I think I should be okay. It's really just a case of getting as much trank into the Bronto as you can. You don't really need to worry about the health. They can take the damage. Now unfortunately they've both angered on me. I was hoping that I'd just get the attention of the one I was firing at and I'd be able to get them split up, but no, they're both chasing me, so it's going to make things a little more complicated for me, but I'm sure I'll be able to handle it. If I was anywhere else apart from Herbivore Island, I would probably be riding a creature that I'd be able to shoot off the back, just in case I ran into anything else. You don't know what you're going to run into when you're trying to avoid that tail. You could find a raptor jumping on your face, you could do anything really, even a Dilophosaurus, just a small annoyance like that. You've got to sort that out, and before you know it, the Bronto gets you. So yeah, I really would be thinking about riding something, maybe even a Thylacoleo if you've got one. If not, like I said, maybe a raptor or something like that. Should be okay though here on Herbivore Island, as long as you don't hit anything else and get that to anger on you, you will be fine. Just make sure that you don't have any structures in the area that you are trying to tame a Bronto. I'm sure we've all done it before. We've tried to shoot at maybe a Dillo or something like that and accidentally hit the Bronto. Before you know it, the Bronto is smashing up your beach hut. Yeah, just be careful of that, guys. The Bronto has two saddles. It's got the regular one, which you can learn at level 63. It is made up with hide, fibre and metal ingots. You make it in the smithy and it will cost you 21 engram points. Also, there is the platform saddle, and you can learn that at level 82. Now it's more expensive at 35 engram points. Also made in the smithy with hide, fibre, metal ingots, silica pearls and cementing paste. Now you can build on the platform saddle. I'll show you an example later on in this video. You can also use it to transport creatures maybe, or maybe as a shooting platform in PvP. I'm not the biggest fan of the platform saddle, to tell you the truth. It does have its uses, but yeah, it's not really for me. I'm pretty sure this guy is nearly unconscious now, as he's running instead of trying to attack me, so it should only take 1 or 2 more shots until I've got him unconscious. Now the other one's going to be a bit of a problem. It shouldn't be really too much of a problem. All I will do is, in fact, there he is unconscious, so all I'm going to do now is run in the opposite direction, get the other one to chase me until it loses aggro, which shouldn't be too long, to tell you the truth. These guys do lose aggro quite quickly. In fact, has he done already? No, he was just trying to get past that rock. So he will lose aggro quite quickly. The only time these guys don't lose aggro quickly is if you steal one of their eggs, and then they will hunt you down forever and a day. So yeah, you don't want to do that, guys, unless you can get away quite quickly. Let's just see, I think he might... Yeah, he's lost aggro on me already, so that's great. So get back to the one that's unconscious. You don't really have to worry about getting back to it that quickly, because their torpor does not go down very much. You're not going to have to use any narcotics with these guys. So we're going to be using kibble today to get this one tamed. It is the most effective way of taming. Also the fastest way of taming. With the Bront, it is exceptional kibble that you need to use. Now, yeah, it is probably one of the more expensive, one of the hardest ones to make. Yeah, you need an extra large egg. Where you're going to get one of those? Another Brontosaurus, a Giga, a Quetzal, a Rex, a Therizinosaurus. I think they're the things from the island that you can use. Also, you need to put focal chili in there, rare flowers, mejo berries, fibre, and some water, if I remember rightly. Yeah, that's about right. So yeah, it's not that easy to make, but it is worth doing. We usually talk about the difference in the taming effectiveness from using kibble and using different things. Now these guys are herbivores, so it wouldn't be different meats. It would be either crops or mejo berries or mixed berries that you would use to tame them if you weren't using kibble. Now there's not a huge difference on the taming effectiveness. To tell you the truth, at this level 24, I'm expecting 11 extra levels on taming using the kibble. I think even using the berries I would probably get 9 or 10 levels. If you're going for maybe a level 100, you're only going to lose, I don't know, 6 or 7 levels using the berries. So yeah, it's not really for the levels that we're using the kibble, it's for the time. Now this is going to take me about 10 minutes to get it tamed and walk up with the kibble. If I was using any of the berries, the crops, it would take nearly an hour. So yeah, there's quite a huge difference. A higher level, it's 2 hour difference between the kibble and the berries. So yeah, if you really don't have the ability to make that kibble just yet, and you don't mind spending the time, go ahead, use the berries. I wouldn't bother using crops, it goes off very quickly, it's a lot harder to make. Yes, you've got to use more berries, but they're easy to get hold of, where the crops aren't as easy. So yeah, go ahead, use the berries, just make sure that you've got the time to hang around. Guys, if you're finding this video useful at all, I'd really appreciate you hitting that like button. If you haven't already, think about subscribing, turn on notifications so you don't miss any more of our videos. I will leave a link to the playlist at the end of this video. If you are wondering about any other creatures, have a look at that playlist. It's probably going to be on there. If not, post a comment down below and I'll get a video set up for you and get it posted. Now, it's going to take a few more minutes to get this guy tamed out, so I'm going to skip forward and I will see you when he has woke up. Okay then, here he is, woke up at level 35, just as we expected. Now, as for the stats, the important ones are the health. He usually has loads of health. The stamina, these guys run out of stamina so quickly. More on that in just a moment. The weight, they usually have quite a lot of weight, but again, that can get filled up, so you might want to think about leveling up the weight. The melee damage, depending on what you want to use him for, and also the movement speed. These guys are painfully slow, so if you can get a few levels into their movement speed, that might just help you out a little bit there. Now we'll just get onto some level ground and I'll show you his sprinting speed. This is his base sprinting speed, and as you can see, his stamina is going down so quickly. It goes up at a reasonable rate, so not too much need to worry about that. But it can get annoying how quickly the stamina does run out and you have to stop to let it build back up again. Okay, that's the stamina gone back up there. Like we said, not too slowly. That's not too bad. Now, one of the things you're going to use the Bronto for is to be a gatherer. Now, we've got a few trees and a few bushes here, so we'll have one swing of the tail and we'll see what we've got from that. So we've got 86 thatch, we've got 14 wood there, we've got a few seeds and a lot of berries. We've got 149 not berries plus many others. So yeah, that's one of the things you're going to be using this guy for. Basically, you know, you might have been using crop plots to grow some berries. You don't really need to do that anymore once you've got one of these guys. You still do need the crop plots for the other things like the citronelle, the long grass, the savoroot and the rock carrot, but for berries, absolutely no need anymore. You can get more with a couple of swings than you're going to need for some time. One thing to watch out for there, I just stood on that parasaur by accident. Didn't mean to harm it, but if that was something more dangerous, in fact if it was a couple of trikes like I've just hit by accident there, and they're going to start attacking me. Now we'll just have a quick look, a swing of the tail here. If you get that swing, if you time it right, the trike's not going to be able to get a hit in. I mistimed that one, it got one hit in, but let's just see if I can do a bit better here. We'll try killing the trike without it hitting me anymore. Yeah, and there we go. So yeah, get the timing right, and you knock the creatures back so much that they're not going to get a hit in whatsoever. Just get that level into the stamina, and I think I'm going to get this thing into the cryopod like we mentioned earlier, and we'll get him over to the main part of the island and find out what to do with it. Now, when you're getting off a Bronto, go down the tail like I've just done. I didn't get the timing quite right there. I jumped off while it was going back up. If you jump off when the tail is further to the ground, you're not going to hurt yourself whatsoever. But if you're jumping off, say, at the saddle, you are going to do yourself some significant damage. So that is one thing you want to watch. Like I say, we'll get this guy into the cryopod and I'll see you in just a moment. One of the things I have found the Bronto useful for is getting through the swamp. Now, how often have you tried to get through the swamp? You've either got leeches on you, you've been knocked off by several different creatures, and things just go so wrong in the swamp. Everything wants to kill you. Well, when you're this high on the Brontosaurus, nothing's going to be able to knock you off. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I've ever been leeched while on a Bronto. These things kill anything and everything in the swamp. Yes, it is going to take time to get through there. You are going to keep running out of stamina. And yeah, it can be a little bit annoying, to tell you the truth. but it's a lot better than getting taken off your ride, either your ride getting killed or you getting killed. You're losing all your items in your inventory, and yeah, the swamp is just a nasty place to go to. So if you've got to get through the swamp, get yourself on the back of a Brontosaurus, and the trees, you can knock them straight out of the way. You can kill most of the creatures in there with just one swing of the tail, maybe 2 or 3. And yeah, the piranhas as well, they can be such a pain, and the Brontosaurus, they are going to get some hits in on you, but the Brontosaurus has got such high health that just a few hits from a couple of different creatures isn't going to matter that much. So we'll just try to get a bit further into the swamp, and we'll see what's around. Even the frogs there, like we've said, you can accidentally hit some things in wherever you are. A swing of the Bronto's tail, you're going to try and kill some piranhas maybe, but you hit the frogs as well, they're going to start aggroing on you. Now you've got to watch out because of their torpor attack, but you can get rid of them pretty quickly. Just make sure that you don't run out of stamina and keep hitting and get your torpor up and you fall unconscious. Now I don't think that's ever happened to me on a Brontosaurus before, but I think maybe when you've got the frog's torpor attack, you've got a higher chance of that happening. Like I said, I don't think it has ever happened, but yeah, it's just something to think about. Your weight here is something to think about. You can get really heavy. Now I know I'm not just yet, but I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff before I do get heavy. Now, one of the great things about those swings of the tail in the swamp, you also get loads of rare mushrooms, and I don't think I got any then, but you also can get quite a lot of rare flowers. So I'm going to skip forward till I find something a bit more interesting, and I'll see you in just a moment. Okay guys, I was just attacked by some piranhas. There's loads of other creatures around me. Obviously I did a swing of the tail to kill the piranhas, but I've hit everything else as well and aggroed them all onto me. I just wanted to show you what can happen if you're not really careful when you are in the swamp. Yeah, the Bronto is great for getting through the swamp and getting rid of any of the smaller creatures or anything, but you can also aggro some of the bigger creatures, and it can turn quite nasty quite quickly. Now I'm going to be okay here. I'm going to defeat these things, but it can turn quite bad if you're not careful. This is actually taking a bit longer, and yeah, even more things are joining in. So, and the Morphodons as well, they'll be attacking me, not the Bronto, and yeah, things can just turn really bad really quickly, like I just said. Okay, I think yeah, he's trying to run away now. So yeah, okay, I've survived that battle, but as you can see, my health has gone down a lot, and it was quite dangerous. So yeah, I've survived it, but only just. Okay then, the platform saddle. Now, as we said earlier, you can build all sorts of things on these. This is just a bit of an example of a base that you could make. Now, we've got everything in this base that you are going to need. We've got electric hookup, we've got fridges, grills, the chemistry bench there, the smithy, the forge, and a fabricator as well. Now, these things don't actually weigh anything, but as soon as you start putting things into them, guys, like for instance into the storage, or if you were putting metal into the forge, anything like that, then they do start weighing, and it all adds onto the Bronto's weight. So yeah, it does add up, so just be real careful of that. Also, you are only allowed 63 actual structures onto the platform saddle, and another thing that adds up there. This base that I've made here is the absolute limit of what you can have. I even had to take a couple of foundations out of the centre just so I could finish the ceilings. So maybe if you're on PvE or single player, you don't need the walls, the ceilings or the foundations. You can just place everything straight onto the platform saddle, but again, you know, that's not perfect either. Now when you're walking along, you're moving around with this platform saddle. As you can see, it is quite awkward to be able to see around, so just be aware of that as well, guys. Final thoughts on the Brontosaurus. It is a straightforward knockout and feed method of taming, but as it's impractical to use a taming pen due to their size, you really need to take into consideration your surroundings. Make sure you're not going to run into a Rex or something like that. That's why I favour Herbivore Island. It's quite safe over there. Just make sure you don't go hitting anything else whilst you're trying to get the Bronto. Once tamed, these guys are really good for gathering berries, probably the best thing on the island at gathering berries, but due to their slow speed and fast stamina drain, I really don't like using them for anything else. Yes, they are useful in the swamp, but again, the speed and stamina does let them down there. As for the platform saddle, if you want a mobile base, then yeah, of course, they are going to come in handy, but there are some things that you can't place on there. For instance, you can't put a water pipe on there, meaning that you can't have an industrial cooker. Also, you can't put a industrial forge on there, but then again, why would you want to? Because the metal needed to go into the industrial forge would just weigh the Bronto down and you wouldn't be able to move it. Speaking of moving metal, if you wanted to move metal on a Bronto, think about using the weight reduction capabilities of the Anki. Put the metal in the Anki and then the Anki onto the platform saddle. Similar with stone and the Doedicurus, or with wood and the beaver. Be warned, guys, if the Bronto dies, the base disappears. Everything will just collapse and it is gone. Likewise with the base, if you try to cryopod it all disappears. You will be able to get your saddle back, but everything on it has gone. Guys, make sure you check out some more of our videos like the one showing on screen right now. Thanks very much for watching and have an amazing day.